Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Kim from It's Like This podcast. And I wanted to change the pace a little bit and give you a very short and sweet series called Mental Health Hacks. And these are the hacks that I use for myself and I also share with my patients. And I hope that you find it helpful. So, first one, I call it the dump list. Now, brain has a way of reminding you what you need to do at a very odd time or inconvenient time or all the time throughout the day, like especially when you lay down to go to sleep. A lot of my patients and a lot of my friends and myself lay in bed thinking, I'm going to finally get some rest. And then your brain reminds you, oh, you forgot to change the trash pickup provider. Or, oh, remember that the play date that has in 2 weeks, you have to cancel that. Your brain never shuts up because it wants to remind you what you needed to do. And it is very inconvenient at times. Now, this brain work takes a lot of bandwidth on your concentration, energy, and memory and emotions because it's always working. And a lot of times people get tired, their brain gets tired from overworking to remind you what you need to do all the time. So a lot of times people come to me saying, I have ADHD because of this specific symptoms of my brain never shuts up and I forget or I feel really tired because my brain always tells me what I need to do and I'm always forgetful XYZ. Now, it is possible that that could be a part of ADHD symptoms, but it's this overworking, anxious brain. Why does your brain get anxious and always remind you to do things? Well, if you feel overwhelmed with lists of things to do and you fear that you might forget something and that it will have consequence if you forget and not do those things, you'll start to feel anxious naturally, right? So, to avoid the consequences, your brain is going to always remind you. And if there's no follow through or accountability, the anxiety level will increase. Just like if you miss a deadline for a quiz versus a test, you'll feel more anxious about the test than the quiz. Now, a lot of times, because your brain reminds you at inconvenient times or times that you can't even handle anything, right? That you're driving or you're eating or something like a lot of times we approach it with, I'll do it later when I remember. Well, if your brain doesn't quite understand and trust you that you're going to follow through, the anxiety level is going to kick in again and anxiety is not going to be relieved. So I started using this dump list method and it really worked out well for me, especially when my brain bandwidth was really thin when my kids were younger or my life was busy or something like that. And I suggested it to my patients and some that were really consistent with it, they really loved it. So the whole point of the dump list is that you have an ongoing list, preferably a paper and a pen, like little pocket, notebook that you can have. You literally dump the to-do list or things to think about or choices to be made on that list. Now, if it is a very time-specific ones like a paper or it has a deadline, then you put the deadline next to that. So you're always putting on the list. Now, the coolest part is that you set an alarm for different times of the day that you usually have a pocket of, time, like maybe 20 to 30 minutes, and you schedule that and you put an alarm on your phone for those times to go over the dump list and take care of the things that you can, or put it in the calendar as an appointment when you can. And this works because when you don't write things down and when your brain cannot trust you that you'll follow through with a to-do list, the anxiety increases and the frequency of reminding you increases and it gets really, really tiring to do that all the time. So the dump list is like a contract with your brain where you're writing it down with a pen and pencil and you can tell your brain, look, it's on the dump list. Now there's a follow through and accountability because you literally set alarms on your phone to look at the dump list. So your brain over the course of time will know this and you will have the habit of tackling tasks that's easy to do or making an appointment to do those tasks at those times that you have an alarm for. So when my patients say I can't sleep at night because that list of things to do is always running in my head, then I say, okay, then take out your dump list and write it all down and you can tell your brain, look, it's on the dump list. It will get seen at 7 a.m. tomorrow so I can go to sleep. And you can kind of practice that of relieving that anxiety from your brain because there will be accountability and there will be follow through of what needs to be done. I hope this was helpful and stay tuned for the next mental health hacks.